I think it's pretty safe to call Foo Fighters at this stage in their career, their pretty long career now, a legendary rock band. I mean, they have cemented themselves as one of the biggest rock bands of the past 20 odd years easily. People usually talk about rock music not being as popular as it once was these days, especially on the mainstream charts, especially, you know, in terms of commercial success. Rock music isn't quite as big as it once was in the 70s, 80s, even 90s you could call back to. But bands like Arctic Monkeys, Foo Fighters, amongst others, seem to be doing pretty well for themselves without the fact that, you know, they aren't really on the charts very often. Dave Grohl is generally a very likable singer. He's always really funny in interviews. He's always really friendly. He's just generally an all-around nice guy. I think it's helped their image in a lot of ways. They're pretty down to earth while also making some good rocking music. It's pretty easy to see why they are as popular as they are. I think you're just sticking on like the best of the best that Foo Fighters have given us, their best hits, like a greatest hits compilation. You can't go wrong with that. I think they've had a lot of great tracks over the years. I even think as late as 2011 in their career, they put out a good album with Wasting Light. That's a good ass rock album. And Medicine at Midnight continues the usual trend of what we've gotten from Foo Fighters all along, really. I do not think they have attempted to reinvent themselves here. I don't think they're going to at any point in their career now. And, you know, it might have been nice to see them try something a bit different, try something a bit new. It could have freshened things up, but I don't think we've really gotten that. A lot of this album's pretty see-through, I think. I enjoy the band when they're at their best, but when you can tell that they're just rehashing stuff they've done already, it becomes pretty obvious and you're just kind of left wanting something a bit different or a bit new. This album does not give us anything we haven't heard before. In fact, if anything, it gives us more cliched lyrics and some more, I guess, cheesy moments than we've ever had. The opening track is so typical, man. Like, I feel like I've heard a song like this, not just from Foo Fighters before, but from like 100 other rock bands before, with the na-na-na-nas that come through, and then the cliche lyrics on the chorus about making a fire, igniting. It's all just far too familiar. Dave Grohl's not like a genius songwriter or anything like that. Like you wouldn't really go to a song for his lyrics, I don't think, particularly. It's usually his presence on the microphone that brings people to his music and draws people to his music, I think. But when the lyrics are so obviously like this, it's just a bit happens a couple of times actually, honestly. Holding Poison, definitely a moment where the lyrics on the chorus just are checklisting all the possible cliches you can imagine. I mean, Poison, rock music, I've seen that done far too many times to make me forgive these kinds of lyrics here. And that's not the only thing to talk about with an album. Obviously, I'm not just going to talk about that one thing, because even this track is just so derivative of what we've heard from Foo Fighters before. The melody, the vocal melody, at one point sounds so much like Rosemary from their from their Wasting Light album. And I brought Wasting Light up earlier tactically because I think honestly they are trying to rehash some of the same things we've had on that album there. I don't know if they're just wanting to replicate the success, because it did do really well for them. It had some of their best tracks ever, I think, actually. I think that's a really good album. And I don't know if they're just trying to give us some of the same stuff we had because their last album wasn't as successful. It just ends up delivering more of the same. Medicine at Midnight, once again, reminds me too much of the track Rope, and I'm not gonna lie, Rope is just a way better song. Then you've got moments that just particularly not stand out at all. You've got Shame Shame, which was the single. I did a reaction video to this actually. I just think the verses are so bland, and then the whole shame, shame that pops up is really tedious and tiring. Don't get me wrong, it's not like the worst thing I've ever heard, I'm not trying to say that, but it's certainly not got the oomph it needs to make me invested, because even some of the other tracks that I've mentioned already at least have a bit of a pulse to them. They've got a bit of an energy. They do sound like songs that they've done for like 20 years, but at least I'm not bored listening to them, whereas Shame Shame and even Chasing Birds actually are two examples of where I'm just really not invested in what they're doing. Chasing Birds, I think you need something special to make a slow piano-ish ballad work like this. I'm just not really feeling what they're doing here. The whole Chasing Birds thing as well feels, again, like stuff I've heard 100 times before, thousands of times before, and it kind of ends up losing its meaning when you hear something said so frequently. Cloud Spotter is a different type of track where once they hit the chorus, they honestly just start saying anything that fits. I mean, they hit us with the bang, bang, bang thing that, you know, again, just don't usually go to a Foo Fighters song and think, I've heard this so many times before, but I feel like I've said that so much in this review that you're probably thinking, wow, I've heard Ryan say, I've heard this so many times before, so many times before. No Son of Mine is like the rockiest rager on the whole album, and it just doesn't really hit. I don't know what it is about it. I feel like I'm listening to a rock song from the 90s, and it's just kind of lacking something. Maybe a face, maybe a distinctness. I think that might be what this album is lacking in places, because a track like this should really be such a ooh, but I'm just left a bit like, Love Dies Young is far too saccharine lyrically. I am just not feeling what Dave is giving us on this one. My God, please don't take my breath away. Love Dies Young, come on, man. Getting soft in your old age now, Dave. I feel like I'm hearing lyrics that would be written in like a Miley Cyrus song when she exited her rebel phase and tried going a bit more romantic-y poppy. I think she probably would have wrote this song, and it's not particularly that catchy either, and a lot of these tracks aren't, which is kind of weird. I don't know if I'm just a bit jaded to Foo Fighters at this stage now, but you know, I don't think they're ever really particularly bland or stale, but a lot of this album does read like that. They're trying to give us energy on a lot of these tracks, but they're just not hitting the right notes at all, and it ends up being a pretty meh listen. So yeah, it's a 5 out of 10 from me, unfortunately. I can't say I've not heard this done before by other rock bands, and particularly by Foo Fighters. I think that's the issue, the biggest issue here, because I'm not getting anything that the band hasn't done before, and I'm just getting worse versions of their best moments, really. I wouldn't be surprised if other fans felt the same about this one, but you know, then again, I did say similar things about the Biffy Clyro album from last year, and I got flooded with hate comments. That was a crazy comment section, so maybe there's going to be a lot of dedicated Foo Fighters fans hitting me with a lot of hate. I am waiting for it, and if it happens, I guess I'll just have to deal with it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, so thank you for watching this review. If you like the album, if you don't like the album, whatever you feel, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching this review. Subscribe if you haven't already. Do have a good day, and goodbye.